Hey, get inspired, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Life Inspired. This is a program, if you've never tuned in before, all about how and why people are following God. He loves us and He has a great plan for each one of our lives. He's made each one of us so different, like snowflakes in the sky or, our fingerprints and stuff like that. And so these programs are available in several ways. So if you hear Caleb's story today and you know somebody that needs to hear it and you want to share it with them, you can share it from our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, or lifeinspiredshow.com. So those are ways that you can share it. We do ask if you would that you would like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel because that helps more people get exposure. And we don't care if it's one person or 1,000 people that hear Caleb's story today, but we know that God has a message in his life. So our guest today, Caleb Wilson, thank you for being on the virtual red couch since it's COVID. We're
Yeah,
so grateful you'd be with us today.
thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. Good. Okay, so typically I ask three questions, Caleb.
Yeah.
You're going to talk about a turning point. Life was going along, dot, 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 and then God stepped in and turned you to a new path, and you're walking this new inspired path. And most people have numerous turning points. Sometimes I'll have guests tell a couple of turning points or whatever. Sometimes most people just talk about one. So before you tell us what the turning point is that you're going to share today, if you could give us the backstory, what was the life before the dot 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 moment for you?
Well, for me, there's been a lot of like you said, there's probably with people, there's a lot of different turning points, and so I
Right?
would say for me, it starts with my testimony. Really, is just the reality is that I grew up in a Christian home, and from a young age, from the age of 3, I accepted the Lord into my life, and it's one of those things where I don't remember anything else at that age other than that. I can see it clearly. I
But you
remember it.
remember that.
I remember it very
Wow.
vividly, and it was a powerful moment, um, and it's kind of funny to say I've never been the same, but I because I don't know what things would have been like. I don't know what it had been like had I not met Jesus at that age, and
Right.
my mom says I went from being kind of rebellious that I kind of changed just like that. And so, not that I
Wow.
was a perfect little boy or nothing like that. I still probably had some mischievous moments, but it was still, she said,
You
you're
were a
just,
teenager once, right?
yeah, I was, but yeah, that's a big part of my testimony that, I didn't, go down the path that so many did, and the Lord kept me. And so I've
Right.
walked faithfully with the Lord all my life. And so, um,
Wow.
again, by no means perfect, obviously, but I can honestly say I've pursued to walk faithfully with the Lord all my life. And so that's one of those things. And so when it comes to that turning point, I don't look at it as much as a turning point from not walking with Christ to walking with Christ, as much as it's been the Lord having these moments where he's spoken to me, and it's led me to the different paths and the different things that the paths that I've gone throughout my life. And so he's really guided my footsteps, me and my family. And there's many different scenarios for how that's played out. And so it's been really good. Yeah, it's been amazing. So
Right.
amazing journey
So
so far.
it is walking with him is like a journey, right? It's like, okay, I want you to go over here now. Okay, now I want you to go over here now. Okay, now you're going to do ministry over here. Now, so it is. It's that journey. So that's awesome. So if you're going to tell several, so tell us a few of the turning points that you'd like to talk about. What are
Okay.
some of the stopping points along your journey? What did he do how did you hear him when he said, "Okay, now go here"? How did you hear him? So tell us a little bit about some of the turning points.
Okay. Well, let me set it up a little bit with my life verse. And my life verse is Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. And many people know this, but it's trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. And that really
Amen.
has been, if I were to just sum up how I see my life and as I look back up to this very moment and where we're at right now, and having come back to the United States to pastor Radiant Church, it's all been, this verse has been that thing really that has carried me forward and kept me focused on, I don't have to know, I don't have to completely understand everything, but Lord, I'm going to trust in you, look to you, acknowledge you, knowing that, Lord, you're guiding. It's my understanding and my ability to, um, discern all the moments and see how it's working out, how it's going to work out, like, is irrelevant in many ways, but just taking those steps of faith, along with the Lord as he calls us and leads us. And so one of the things, I guess, with that verse in mind, one of the things I'll just talk about some of these different points, I guess. I shared how I came to Christ at 3, and fast forward to when I'm a freshman in high school, I got the opportunity to go to Odessa, Ukraine for a missions trip. And so while I was there, it was an amazing trip. I mean, I've heard some of the other people who were adults say it was the missions trip from hell, just the way things went, and all these things that were going on. But for me, it was amazing. The hotel we got put in, there's cockroaches all over the walls, and during the night, comes across my face and all sorts of stuff. I mean, all these things, people are standing up, sleeping with the lights on top of their beds and not not going to bed just because they're freaked out. And so, I mean, it was quite the adventure, but it was very impactful for me. And when I came back from Odessa, Ukraine, I remember there was one night, I was standing back in the back of the sanctuary at Calvary Temple, Southgate Church now, and it was during a time of worship, and I was just crying out to the Lord, just worshiping the Lord. And I said, God, what do you have for my life? What do you want me to do? Where do you want me to go? And I kid you not, I heard, it wasn't audibly like we're talking, but I heard as clear as we're talking, South America, South America, South America, just like that. And I was your typical
3 times.
3 times, South America, South America, South America. And I remember thinking, South America, I'm your, typical gringo, American teenager that's like, I knew where South America was, obviously. But I didn't know anybody from South America. Didn't know anybody that spoke Spanish. And so I remember taking that, and I was just like, all right, God, I don't know what that means. I don't know what